everybody, it's Monday and I am Meg from Loven Stamps and welcome to Maker Mornings with Meg. So today's card is a lot of fun. I had out these window sheets from last week from our pop-up box card, which I hope you guys saw. That baby is super fun. Here's one. Pop-up box card. So here is this one. And I had a trick for getting the front of it to be just as cool as the inside and having all those things show. So anyway, these little pieces here are all attached with window sheet pieces. And so since I had them out, I was thinking, oh, I should make a window sheet card, which I haven't done for a while. So you can use these window sheets for lots of different things, including card bases. And so I am going to talk a little bit about that. A window sheet card base is all about layering and figuring out what's going to show when you put the different pieces and layers together. So we're going to talk about how to do that. And I am going to feature the Tea Boutique suite, so Cup of Tea stamp set, and the Coordinating Designer series papers, which if you guys have been watching, I've used these already. They're a lot of fun. And the new in color. So there are links in the video description for supplies for things. All right, with, let's see, the Tea Boutique suite are the fabulous Cup of Tea teacup dies. And they are a really great way to make the most of a clear card base because there are some elements in there that you can use both forwards and backwards, which is kind of a cool deal because you're going to see things on the inside. We should probably just get to it here, right? So that you guys know what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm going to flip my camera down. One of the other things I'm going to tell you about today is a tip for maintenance on your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I just happened to think of it this morning because I did mine. Sorry, guys. All right, so let's pull our supplies out here. I am going to use the Stitch Rectangles dies, which are a really terrific staple to have on hand when you are doing all kinds of cards, but especially for today. I did show, I got the Scallop Contour dies out because you could also make this card with those. But I'm going to show you a tip about why the scalloped rectangles are actually the perfect ones for this. All right, so let's pull in our materials here. So I'm starting off with a window sheet. I'll move it around so you guys can see it. The window sheet is cut to 8 inches wide by 5.5 inches tall. So it's a normal sized height, but I went ahead and cut it only to 8 inches wide so that if you think about like getting a full, sheet of these, if I cut off this 4-inch strip at the top and then have, 2 card bases here, then I can get, I know it's hard to see with the reflection of the thing, but so if I cut off this 4-inch strip here at the top and then have a 5.5-inch strip and a 5.5-inch strip, then I can get 3 cards out of a sheet. Now, in the past, I've used sometimes like transparency sheets. The Stampin' Up! Window sheets are a different weight than other things I've seen. They're really heavy, which is a really cool feature. So they're just a little bit different, and you get 2 sheets in a package. So this is kind of a cool special card. So I'm going to go ahead and score our 8-inch piece here at 4 inches. And normally when I score things, I'm kind of light with it, but I am going to be pretty heavy-handed here. So there are 2 ends on the tool with your Simply Score tool. There's the bigger one, the smaller one, and we want to go ahead and just use that smaller one. And I'm going to score on both sides to really try and get as much sort of damage on that, or stretch, I guess, since we're stretching the plastic on the window sheet as possible. Okay, another word of wisdom, you want to try to keep your hands off the window sheet as much as possible, or if you get to this point, you're like, oh my gosh, where did all those smudges come from? You can always clean it with a little, Windex or like a Norwex cloth or something like that. All right, I hardly ever use bone folders. Oh, I didn't even say good morning to everybody this morning. Hi guys. He's Cindy and Margie and Jenny, and Elaine, and Carol, and Tanya, and Becky, and everybody. Jenny says this stamp set isn't her cup of tea. Ha ha ha. That's funny. I really, tea isn't necessarily my thing. I'm a totally confirmed coffee drinker. But I do love all the little cute greetings in here. So I'm finding myself using it a lot. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that score line there and go ahead and start to fold our card on the score line. And then I'm going to bring in my bone folder and I am going to just burnish this edge as much as possible. You really need to be aggressive with the window sheet to get it to fold and to stay, okay? So there we go. All right. So now we have our window sheet and you can see yes, there are going to be a lot of different layers to this. So let's look at a piece of designer series paper here. Now, thinking of this through, if I put this on the front, then it's gonna block most of my card. Okay, that could work. If I put it on the back of the front, that also works. So that's 2 panels of our card. The third piece could be here on the inside, so this could show through, or I could layer something on the front, or I could put this back here on the back underneath. So you can see that there are a lot of different choices on where to put your pieces on a card like this, okay? Hey, Becky and Lisa and Kathy. So I want this piece to show, I'm gonna have the blue side, this is Orchid Oasis here of this pretty paper. It's gonna show when our card is closed here on the front. But if I glue it like this, so inside our card, then the teapots are gonna show, which is good, but then also the glue is gonna show. So to get around that, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put our glue on, and I am gonna use a lot of multi-purpose liquid adhesive here today because it gives you the most ability to shift things to make sure they're where you want them. And you'll notice I didn't put glue all the way out to the edge, and that is going to become clear, the reason, see what I did there? Sorry, I can't help it. So this is the back of our card, and it's going to sit like, okay. Sorry, I gotta turn it towards me for a second. I stamp upside down a lot, but not always perfect here. All right, so this is the back of our card. I know it's upside down for you guys. And now we have our sheet that is gonna show from the front, and then it'll show in the middle, and then that will be the back of our card. So you kind of see what we did there. We put something pretty on the back so that the adhesive isn't gonna show through, because that's just not super attractive there, okay? All right, so now what are we gonna put on the front of our card? Let's look at kind of a frame piece. So here's my vision. My vision is to have a frame around here, and then a sweet teacup here, and then have the teacup stamped on the inside of our card. So let's look at how we're gonna make that happen. The first thing we need is a frame. And so I got my stitch rectangles out. So this is where having a layered die set is absolutely perfect, okay? So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna cut a piece of paper to go with this, and I've got a piece of Orchid Oasis because it's just gorgeous with these colors, and the rest of the paper in the suite and the back of our card and all the things. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this piece here. So I'm gonna go ahead, usually I have things cut for you ahead of time, but this one I'm gonna show you because I wanted to give you a little reminder tip on maintaining your die cut machine. So when you use your die cut machine, first of all, if you have a rectangle like this, I always try to put it through, or straight edges, I always try to put it through at an angle so that it's not hitting straight across like this all at the same time, so there's a big lump for it to go over all at once. I really prefer it to be on an angle like this so that it can just do a really effective job of applying pressure evenly across the whole die. Okay, so we're gonna crank that through. Now, the part that I wanted to show you, oh, here, we'll get our piece out. So you can see I've just washi taped those two elements together, and that means I have this fantastic element here that I can just set aside to use for another card. And between those two, I have a frame that we can use for the front of our card. So this is a great way to make a frame. And since the stitched rectangles die cut the stitching both on the inside and the outside of their cut line, you end up with this really gorgeous detailed stitch line on both sides, okay? So we're gonna use that. Now, and then I actually am gonna need 2 of these, so I'm gonna leave them taped together. You'll see why. And then run them through again, which I have done through the magic of television. And then I wanted to show you this maintenance trick here. So for the die cut machine, you are going to have, oh my gosh, okay, we're way too close here. I'm gonna flip you guys this way. Hello again. Okay, so on your die cut machine, you have a handle, right? Okay, so on the end of the handle, there is a little rubber gasket, and you're gonna wanna take that out occasionally, and you are going to want to grab the little Allen wrench that came with your die cut machine. I just keep mine in the drawer with my dies and stuff. And then you're gonna wanna put that in there, and you're gonna wanna hold your handle and tighten that Allen wrench there every once in a while. Because that screw that's in there, just through the natural motion of the die cut machine, it's going to loosen itself, and you don't want it to get so loose that it falls out, because it just really, it's holding that handle on and making it insecure. Or making it secure. So you want to make sure that you always have that nice and tight. So I don't honestly probably only think about it, I don't know, once a year or something like that. So not very often, but just don't ignore it. And if you ever feel like your handle is getting a little like loosey-goosey, then you're going to want to make sure that you do that. So, okay, so back to our card, because we have our frame cut, and let's get you guys back down here. And so for our next magic trick, for our next part, we're going to go ahead and work on assembling some elements here. So this piece is going to go right here on the front of our card, and you're going to be able to see here why the multi-purpose liquid glue is so handy, because it grabs really hard and it lets us, it's just a little bit more forgiving on placement. So I'm gonna go glue most of the way around and leave myself sort of a handle here where I can grab this, okay? And then we're gonna layer this on top, and like we say with the multi-purpose liquid glue, it grabs hard but doesn't grab instantly, so we're just gonna give that a second. And the other thing we're gonna need now, if you think about what this looks like on the inside, there is the back of a glued line there. So we're gonna go ahead and grab another frame that we cut with our washi taped dies, and we're gonna glue this to the inside of our card. And again, you don't need a lot of glue. If you can see it, it's enough. We'll leave a handle spot there for grabbing it. And then pop this on the inside of our card. All right, so you can see not super attractive there on the inside of our card with the glue spots. So we're gonna cover that baby up. And I'm just gonna hold it for a second so that it can have a chance to grab. And now we're gonna need a white layer here to go on the inside of our card where we're gonna do our stamping for our teacups. The dies for this set have a couple of cool elements to them. They have both I'm just looking for a sample, both an outline T-cut. Let's see, here is a good sample. So they have both an outline T-cut. So this is a card by the fabulous Mary Ellen Stites. And you can see that she die cut the full teacup here. So that's this die right there. But then there's also this detailed one here, which is see-through. And she went ahead and cut 2 from my favorite Starry Sky cardstock and put them both together, which is darling. But we're gonna go ahead and use this one a little bit differently. We're gonna use it as an overlay on the front of our card like this, okay? So what I want to do is I want to have this really kind of stand out from our darker purples here, our Orchid Oasis. So I'm gonna grab the Glimmer Paper that comes in the in color. So this is a fun in color accessory item to add to your in color orders. So it comes in the 5 in colors, which are, you guys probably learning them by now, Starry Sky, my favorite, Tahitian Tide, Sweet Sorbet, Parakeet Party, and what am I missing? Oh, Orchid Oasis, the lighter of the purples, okay? So these are pretty ombre papers, and we're gonna go ahead and die cut this here, like this, which through the magic of television, I have done already. So now you can see how this is a really cool element since it has that silhouette and that shape to be able to look through there. The next thing we're gonna do is we want one, of course, to go on the inside, right? Because we don't just want that to show like that on the inside. So what I'm gonna do is I need the opposite of the teacup. I'm actually going to flip it over and die cut it on the back also, okay? So through the magic of television, I've already done that, all right? So now I have Tahitian Tide teacups that layer together. So I could put them together like this and they would be pretty and sparkly on both sides, right? Now, I will say to die cut the front side, when you're die cutting the front side of the glimmer paper, it's a breeze, super easy. Everything just pops out instantly right away, no worries. When you die cut the back of the glimmer paper, it is a little bit of a pain. You guys know me, I don't like things that are fussy. So this one's worth it because it's such a cool effect. It cuts through super well. It's 100% cut, but because of the way the glimmer paper is made, it just takes a little longer. You're gonna have to push out each of the little parts on the back. So not terrible, just wanted to give you a heads up so you're not like, you can remember, oh yeah, Meg did say it was gonna be a little bit more work to cut the back out. So, all right, we're gonna take this now and we're gonna get ready to layer it on here, but I don't wanna stick it down until we know exactly where it needs to go. And that is where our stamped layer is gonna come in. So this is gonna go inside to here to cover up our glue, and we're gonna kind of eye this here. I'm gonna use this striped teacup here, and we're gonna go ahead and stamp it in Tahitian Tide to match what we've already got. And I'm gonna eye the placement. So basically I want my teacup up a little from the bottom and then off the edge so the handle isn't going to show. That's kind of my brain thought there on where to put that. So I'm gonna ink this up. We want it up from the bottom and in so the handle isn't on our element. So there is our sweet teacup. Okay, so we can see how this is gonna kind of come together. And then we wanna give this the full fun treatment of the like cool pieces that are included in this stamp set. So I'm gonna grab the Parakeet Party. The in colors always go great together. This year is no exception. And oh, this is my little reminder for you. If you are interested in the in colors and you have been thinking like, oh, maybe I should learn more about being a demonstrator and I would really like to get all that stuff for free. The starter kit includes the in color starter kit right now. So there's a great chance to pick up all those fabulous elements for your stamping collection. So there's a link in the video description for that. So, okay. Let's see. Kelly said it would be easier to work with if you burnish the fold after you're done creating your card. You know what? I totally could see that. The trick with that is that then you really have to line up every single layer as you're going along. Because if you're doing it out here like this, then you're kind of guessing where the frame is going to end up on your card. Does that make sense? That's a good thought. Yeah. It is a little bit of a finicky thing. I would definitely, you have to love a finicky card to love this card. So, but I think it's worth it. I'm going to go ahead and put our leaves on there. And really, it's not terrible. I'm sure it looks worse on the video because it's all glary every time I open and close it. It's really not terrible to put something like this together. It just takes some thought about where you're gonna layer the things. So, all right. So now I'm gonna take these flowers, which are here, meant to go with the greenery. So you could do the greens without the flowers. I think they're cute, but adding this little punch of red here is great. And I always just kind of turn my stamp until I figure out where the pieces line up. And then the closer you get, the more easily you can kind of see that. So there's our little flowers. And this one I really think is a very forgiving thing to line up. All right, so let's take a look now at where we've got our element here. So I'm going to glue that so it has to be centered right in the middle there, which we know is centered right in the middle here, which is going to give us a place to put our teacup. It's coming together, guys. Isn't this fun? All right, so before we do that though, I want a greeting. And there are lots of great greetings in this set. I think we're gonna just put a little tiny one down there because I see this card as something like that I would send to somebody with just a, just a little tiny message, love Meg down there at the bottom or something. If you wanted to have this be a card with more space for writing, then what I would do is I would take this piece here and I would make it twice as wide, and then you could have it be a folded element inside the card. Does that make sense? So you would have it be pretty like this, and then you would open it and you could open this one more time to have your message inside that white area. Actually, I kind of wish I'd done that, but we're not going to do it today because my card's already cut. So I'm going to go ahead and use the I Miss You, which is a nice thing, just kind of a fun cup of tea. And I'm just going to put it right down here. So just a really simple punch of color. And since we have that punch of color from the red, from the sweet sorbet up here and down here, we have great possibilities for echoing that color, which is always important when you're doing your card making. So I'm going to pop some more multi-purpose liquid glue on there because, like I said, it's going to be the most forgiving about where we're layering things. So I'm going to pop this in here and just turn it until it's ready. Now, when I say it's the most forgiving, you can also use your Seal or your Seal Plus, but these adhesives are like super glue. Well, I don't know, but they're super instantaneous. They're really, really grab hard on window sheets. So if you accidentally touch something, it's stuck. It's too late. The adhesives are, so it's great if you're trying to stick your elements together. Not so great if you're trying to, kind of like Kelly pointed out, this card is just takes a little bit of fiddling. So not so great if you don't want things to be stuck hard where you're not ready. Okay, so now we're gonna layer our teacup on top here. So we're gonna bring in our multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to put a little glue on here. And again, you don't have to cover every single element of this. You just kind of want to catch some edges and pieces here and there. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue this one too. So this is the one that's going to go on the inside. And you don't want to over glue because you don't want it to squish out the edges of your window sheet card because it'll show up on your window sheet. All right. So I'm going to set this one aside safely, and I'm going to grab this one and try to remember where I didn't put glue so I can hold it. If your fingers get gluey, you're much better off to go wash your hands than just sort of keep going because you don't want to transfer that. And there is where our teacup is going to sit. Okay. All right, so I'm going to hold this just for a second. And you can kind of see how perfect these stamps and dies are for making this card. They just really give you a lot of fun mixing and matching layering ideas and possibilities. And then on the inside of our card, we're going to take our other teacup and we're going to just match that up perfectly. Just like that. Okay, and give it a chance to grab. Okay, I love colors. So my daughter's senior prom was this weekend, and so I got to go and take pictures, which was a ton of fun. But there were a whole bunch of them together, and they randomly, just coincidentally, end up with all rainbow colored dresses. And so they like lined up in Roy G. Biv order just for the kick of it, and I loved it. So pretty together. So anyway, so this card is kind of giving me flashbacks to prom pictures with the super awesome color combinations. All right, so you can kind of see how that goes together, and we've got that all grabbed on there. Now, we, of course, need some kind of little bling or embellishment or things like that. Yay, I'm so glad you guys like this. Thanks, Becky. Thanks, Cindy. So the coordinating in color embellishment is this fabulous set of decorative matte dots. And so we're going to pop some of these on here. And I think I want to go ahead and stick with sort of, I don't want them to be too obvious, so I'm gonna stick with a darker color that matches one of these. So I'm gonna go with the purple here from Orchid Oasis. And we're gonna do our sort of around our greeting trick where we're kind of keeping our focal point there on the, there on our words. 1, 2, and then I need a third one. And I'm gonna pop this one down here. There we go. Okay, so now we have our extra little embellishment there too. And I did a pretty decent job of keeping my fingers off the card. You could sort of spot clean a little bit with some Windex before you put it in the Windex and a little piece of paper towel before you put it in the envelope. But I love the way these clear card base cards come together. And the window sheets are just a really fabulous quality for this. So you really wouldn't want something thinner because you want this to be, you know, a card that can stand up on its own. So you can see where this would be a great thing to hand to somebody or give to somebody. You could mail it in a, actually, it would be really awesome is to mail it in a clear envelope. Oh, let me grab one of those for a second and give you guys this information. So the clear envelopes that Stampin' Up! Carries are just a perfect size for these cards. They have an adhesive strip on the back so you can adhese it and peel. But if you're mailing a clear envelope, you can mail these. They're fine for postage. You can either put like an Avery label, sticky label with your address on the front, or sometimes I'll put the label on the back of my card and then pop that into my envelope there so that it's included just kind of like that. Now, if you were gonna mail this one with the dots on it, I'm not sure how the dots would handle the clear envelopes. I don't know if anybody's mailed dots in clear envelopes. Usually I put a protective layer over it. I'm certain that the Postal Service would want you to pay the extra ounce stamp for that. Usually on a clear envelope you don't, but you could put that. The only other thing to know about these is that you do have to have your stamp on the outside of the envelope because they have to be able to cancel it. So no fair putting your stamp on the inside where they can't cancel it and you could potentially use it again. So, all right, guys, I am hoping that you enjoyed our card this morning. Think about these window sheets again. If you don't have any, you probably want to, there we go, probably want to think about adding them to your next order. And you can get 3 cards out of each, 3 card bases out of each sheet. So you could get 6 cards out of a package. Just remember that one of them is going to be this long ways card, so it won't be the up ways. But it's just so much fun to play with the extra layers and how the different elements of the card go together so that you have so many different places to decorate. So, and then think about covering up your adhesive with another layer. So front, back, lots of ideas there. So, all right, guys, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. A great Mother's Day for everyone celebrating. Thank you to all the mothering that so many of us do for so many people in our lives. It's all appreciated and loved and making a difference. So thank you, guys. And then I will be back on Wednesday for another Maker Mornings with Meg. And I will look forward to sharing another card with you then. So have a great day. Happy Monday. And I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye, guys. Happy stamping.